is Access Tech Live, a CES special with Stephen Scott and Marc Aflalo. The latest in tech and accessibility. Follow us now and get involved at Access Tech Live.
Hey everyone, I am Stephen Scott. Welcome to Access Tech Live. With us this week and every week is Marc Aflalo. How are you this week, Marc?
Oh, I'm doing amazing, Stephen. Coming off of yesterday's live show, a special Wednesday edition. We're back with another one. CES in full swing. So many things to talk about. And just like yesterday, Stephen, we're not physically in Las Vegas, but we've got a great team. Special thanks to Tim and David, who are on site manning all the technical stuff so that our guests can come on and join us live. An amazing lineup of guests that are waiting right now for us to introduce you to. So I'm really excited.
Yeah, and listen, you can catch up with that show, of course, over on AMI Plus, and you can check us out on YouTube as well. Just search for Access Tech Live or on social media. We're absolutely everywhere. And of course, like a lot of tech media this week, they're, of course, talking all about the big announcements of robots and self-driving toilets or whatever it is that's going on at CES. And there's lots of cool stuff, for sure. But here on Access Tech Live, we bring disability into focus in all the tech we cover, and that is no different with Access Tech Live this week at CES. And guests like, for example, Melissa Andresco from Lutron, Kevin Frayne from Braun Ability, Will Wang from Leafy Home, and the winner of the Consumer Technology Association, or CTA Foundation's pitch competition, Augmental, will be joining us on this show today.
Yeah, Stephen, you mentioned a self-driving toilet. I haven't seen that, but there are some honorable mentions I wanted to throw out. Companies that will definitely have a chance to speak to over the coming weeks and months, like Oro, a robot designed to keep your dog company at home. It has a ball launcher and has actual emotions and can play with your dog. A company, Palm Plug, which is an accessory for your hand that can be used not only in VR, but also used to help stroke survivors regain motion in their hands. And We Robotics, who have created an ultra-lightweight wearable robot designed to assist those with walking and exercise. So many cool companies that we're definitely going to get a chance to speak with, some not live on the show. And as I said, weeks to come. This is what's fun about CES each and every single year.
And that's what Access Tech Live is all about, shining a spotlight on this. We do it every week here. So if you're just joining us because you happen to stumble upon us because of all the CES coverage, then you know what? Stay with us every single week here at AMI, because that is this is the place where we bring together disability and tech. Nowhere else does it like us, I promise you. Lots to look forward to on this show and future shows, but let's dive right into today's show, Marc, because standing by is Brian Comiskey, the Director of Thematic Programs at the CTA. Brian, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. It's an absolute pleasure to be here.
Now, you and I spoke at CES Unveiled in Amsterdam. Before we dive into the tech stuff, how was your vacation that followed it with your wife? Did you have a nice time?
It was incredible. To be honest, we've been chatting about maybe in the future that's where we're going to move to. That's how much we loved Amsterdam. So thank you for your recommendations, and thanks for asking.
Hey, listen, that is so funny you say that, because my wife and I had exactly the same conversation. I don't know what it is about Amsterdam that just makes me feel very relaxed. I don't know what it is. Anyway, let's just park that for a second. So the focus of CES Unveiled in Amsterdam was undeniably around AI, but also health and wellness as well. Do you think that these two themes are as prevalent at CES in Vegas?
Oh, I certainly think so. And in fact, a lot of ways they overlap with one another. So when you think about health and wellness technologies, think about how they're converging in many ways, right? It's no longer just treating one condition, like say you're having trouble sleeping, right? It's no longer just treating sleep. It's figuring out maybe you have anxiety behind it, right? And treating both conditions. This is recognition that there's more than just a condition for an individual. It's the full patient profile. It's very humanistic. It's very personalized care. And then AI comes into play with this because artificial intelligence, while a main attraction in a lot of technologies, also underpins almost every industry vertical you can think of, right? It's a horizontal tech that improves the performance. And digital health is one of the best examples of this. We can give an example right now with a company like HealthPlus.ai. They're out of the Netherlands. I think you and I may have talked about them, but they're back here in Vegas. They analyze electronic health records to identify your risk of infection after surgery. The current window is 5 days for most analysis. Their solution can usually get it down to 2 to 3. So that's not just improving performance of doctors, but saving lives.
Brian, over 130,000 people visit CES every year. That's a stat that I'm sure is broken year in and year out. Are we breaking records this year at CES?
That's a really good question. So we have projected that we're expecting about 130,000 attendees this year. And the beauty of what we do is, unlike any other trade show, we audit independently after the show to figure out what our numbers are. And it's based on a single badge swipe. So we'll have the official number in a few weeks, but it's looking pretty good that we're going to hit that. But beyond just the attendees, in the exhibitors category, we're nearing 4,500 exhibitors with 1,400 startups in the Eureka Park area alone.
I think it's incredible the work that goes into CES. I mean, considering the amount of time that you have there and the amount of space that you take up, it's amazing how it all comes together. Lots of tech media often talk about CES as kind of losing its touch a little bit. It doesn't have as many of the big players there. A lot of companies like Apple, for example, abandoned CES a number of years ago to go off and do their own events. But I don't know. I tend to think this allows for other companies to actually take the stage and get the limelight that perhaps they wouldn't be able to manage themselves. What's your take on that?
I would tend to agree with you on that front. And here's the thing. Steve Wozniak was actually in town last night attending one of the events, the co-founder of Apple. There are Apple execs, I'm sure, walking around the show floor because the average executive at CES has 29 business meetings a week. It is a B2B event for that reason. A lot of enterprise work gets done. But yeah, I think in a lot of ways, where you've seen some of the larger players, they are able to do their own announcements at times because they want that dedicated, that have that high profile touch in budget. Think about those 1,400 startups, for example, that they are sharing hotel rooms. They're putting a lot of their budget for the year to go and get that venture capital investment surge, the right partner from other exhibitors. So in many ways, this is the room and the space that CES provides as a platform to give them that voice that they probably couldn't get anywhere else. So I think that's quite special. And I think the beauty is if those larger companies like Apple want to come back and they want to exhibit, we have space for them too. We are here to convene everyone. It's a big tent and it's a lot of fun for that reason.
Now, you're a busy man at CES. I've seen you on so many interviews. You've been hosting interviews, been interviewing people, being the subject of a guest like here on this show. Have you had a chance to walk the floor yourself? It's not a small endeavor, so I can't imagine that's easy.
The running joke is my job when I'm not on camera is to help others on our team create tours and identify the location. So sometimes we used to joke that I'll tell you and I know where everything on the floor is, but I haven't seen it yet. But I have taken a walk around, especially we're standing right now in North Hall, which is where digital health, sustainability, AI innovation, as well as some mobility innovation comes together. And let me tell you, it has been an absolute blast to see smart glasses with hearing technology. So not only are they prescription glasses, but they have hearable open ear technology. That's from Essilor-Luxottica. You probably know them for owning Ray-Ban and Oakley, as well as some incredible metaverse solutions from Siemens. And there's one of my favorites is there's an electric motorcycle from an Estonian company called The Verge that goes faster than most Corvettes with a powertrain on the back wheel. So if you feel the need for speed, you can get it, but you can also do it sustainably.
Brian, before we let you go, I want to ask you a quick question, which is, what do you attribute the success of an event like this to? Is it just the numbers of people that attend, where they come from? How do you quantify that?
Yeah, of course. Well, I think it goes in a few paths. I think it goes back to the first point I mentioned, which is a lot of business gets done here, right? Where you get those companies get that surge of investment. That second part really is coming down to the attendees. I think where we're bringing this big tent of digital health, AI, we have gaming, XR. We even have companies like Kubota, Doosan, Bobcat, and John Deere bringing that heavy machinery story. And then we also have one of the best inclusivity tech stories, I think, on the planet with a lot of accessibility, diversity, and equality tech on show display. So that's the second path. And the final is, and maybe this is personally just me, but when I think of CES, I think of things like the World's Fair. I think about Epcot as a kid, the experimental prototype community of tomorrow at Disney. It evokes wonder, I think, for so many people. It's almost, in many ways, I think our pastime as humanity to look to the future in a way, so it's past and future, and it invokes this nostalgia and curiosity for what tomorrow looks like, and I think CES does it better than anyone.
Yeah, I've got to say, Brian, I saw an article in a newspaper here in the UK where it said, is CES really required? And then I did a search in that same site and they had like 40 different articles all about CES. So I think they answered their own question, which is actually it's very popular. It is actually, I think, doing a fantastic job at highlighting accessibility and putting businesses together with other companies and talking about the discussion around accessibility as well. Brilliant work. Great to have you back on Access Tech Live. Hopefully next time in person, Brian. Brian Comiskey, thank you so much for being back with us.
Thank you so much for having me and looking forward to chatting again. Thank you.
After a quick break, a company who's pioneered the smart home space for over 60 years. Melissa Andresco from Lutron is standing by on the Access Tech Live CES special.
This is Access Tech Live CES Special. Follow us on social media at Access Tech Live. We'll be right back. Access Tech Live will return in less than 2 minutes. Access Tech Live is in a commercial break. Access Tech Live will return in less than 2 minutes. Access Tech Live is in a commercial break. The show will return in less than a minute. Access Tech Live will be back in 30 seconds. Now, back to Access Tech Live, a CES special. The latest in tech and accessibility with Stephen Scott and Marc Aflalo.
Welcome back to our CES special. Stephen Scott and Marc Aflalo with you today. Now let's head back to the CES show floor where our next guest is standing by. She's the Chief Corporate Brand Ambassador for Lutron and she sits on the board of the CTA. Now this is not the first time, nor will it be the last, that we welcome Melissa Andresco to the program. Thank you so much for being with us, Melissa.
Good morning, Stephen. Nice to see you.
Now Lutron has been in operation for over 60 years. And still at the top of its game, at least as far as I'm concerned, in making our homes smarter with switches, shades, and so many other amazing solutions as well. I'm going to talk about some of those today with you. How do you continue to innovate year after year in this space?
You know, Stephen, it's been an amazing 60-plus years for Lutron, and I think our first principle is really about taking care of the customer. And so our innovation is really driven by what are we hearing from our customers? What do they want? What do they need? What do they wish they were able to do in their home that technology could solve a problem for them and make their lives simpler? Whether it's, adding peace of mind, whether, it's helping them get ready for entertaining a little bit easier. So that customer feedback for us is just so critical. And that's really what fuels our innovation year after year.
Now, Melissa, CES is more than an opportunity, obviously, for a company like Lutron to showcase their products and services. I'm curious what you get out of it, on a personal level or as a corporate level. Is it the interaction with your user base? Is it getting to meet other partners in the space? What do you come away with when you leave a CES?
First of all, hi, Mark. Good to see you. For us, CES is just such an amazing moment for us every year. I mean, not only are we getting to interact with some of the world's most incredible media and showing off everything that, we've come out with in the past year, but it's a chance for us to, number one, also see all of our alliance partners and get to meet with them and get to see, just really keep a pulse on what's new, what's next, what should we be thinking about? Are there any other alliances we could be thinking about? Our products work with some of the best brands in smart home, and we're always trying to figure out, is there another application that we should be thinking about, something that's going to make sense? Right now we work with Ring, for example. So if somebody rings the doorbell, you could have a certain number of lights come on in the house. That's a very good application for somebody. So are there other use cases out there like that we could maybe be thinking about for the future? So for us, it's really about discovery, but also just really keeping a pulse on the industry.
And of course, our focus here on Access Tech Live is all about accessibility of products, right, for disabled users. Is that something that's part of your mission as well?
That's something that I'm very personally passionate about. I actually sit on the CTA Foundation board, which is a very important mission for me, and it's all about helping folks with disabilities or seniors get access to technology and helping, make their lives easier and better. But our Caseta, the Lutron Caseta product, is a perfect example. I mean, you could use what we call our Pico remote, and we've seen people put that on wheelchairs. We've seen people, with limited mobility be able to control their lights from their bedside. So it's definitely one of those added benefits to our system. But I'm just so pleased in general with where smart home, the freedoms that it's been able to give people. I mean, we make our Serena Shade product, which I know you're both probably very familiar with. But for people, I've had people tell us, like, I haven't raised or lowered my shades in a year or two because, wrist issues, they can't, turn the blinds anymore. So being able to give people access to sunlight and being able to just help people stay in their homes longer, I think is just a tremendous thing. And I think it's something that really, again, this whole technology for good concept, smart home's a really good example of that.
That's a beautiful way to put it, Melissa, bringing sunlight into someone's life. I mean, it sounds quite flowery, but it's actually quite impactful, because you're absolutely right. There are reasons why people may not open their shades at home. And that is something that is so important. It's a simple thing like that can really make the difference. You say you hear from customers, and that's obviously a major part of this. Do you hear a lot from the disability community? Do you get into that conversation with your customer base to understand how these products can impact people?
I don't know that we specifically have any, I don't know that we have any specific feedback from that community, but I know that we've heard stories second and third hand from our dealers or other customers who are helping to bring these products into people's homes. But I'm not sure if we've actually heard directly from folks in that community, but I'm sure we have. We have a lot of customers reaching out and 24/7 tech support, so I'm sure at some point we have. I just don't have any specific examples I could share.
Not a problem. I got a question. As a board member of the CTA Foundation, they have the pitch competition every year, which wrapped up yesterday. We've got the winner lined up later on in the show. What do you take away from that in particular when you see all this new tech, this emerging tech, and people really buying for a prize? It's not only the accolade of winning, but it's also there's grant money and there's attention that comes onto companies. Do you guys take away anything and bring that back to Lutron? And does it reinvigorate yourselves in terms of just product growth and just the brand itself?
I think being at CES, to your point, seeing these people vying for prize money, for these honors. I mean, being in the Eureka Park section, talk about inspiring, where you see all these, founders there just dying for a chance to meet with people who could fund them and help take them to the next level. So for me, I just think it's very inspiring to see all these people, the passion, the dedication. They're here like on a shoestring budget, putting every dollar they have into making that business special. So to be at the pitch competition and see the different types of products, it's really moving. Every year the foundation gives out a number of grants, and when you're reading those grant applications, you can't help but be moved when you see what some of these people are asking for money to do, whether it's giving seniors access to the internet or creating community centers or, helping make apps more accessible. It's just, you realize, how technology really is helping to propel our world forward, and it's just so many good things are coming out of it. So I'm really excited to see what comes out of this year, and for the foundation to see all these wonderful applications come in the next couple months.
Well, we love following Lutron, and I want to thank you for coming on. And I thank you on behalf of all the Lutron users out there for the timer feature that just made it to the app right before the new year. It's something
yes.
I know I've been personally asking for that for quite some time. I can now actually make my lights go off by themselves, so my kids don't have a reason to try and get another one by me. Melissa, thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We cannot wait to have you on again.
Yeah, thank you both, Mark and Stephen. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Coming up, a company that first created the wheelchair and seat lift for cars. Kevin Frayne is here from Braun Ability after a quick break on our Access Tech Live CES special.
This is Access Tech Live CES Special. Follow us on social media at Access Tech Live. We'll be right back. Access Tech Live will return in less than 2 minutes. Access Tech Live is in a commercial break. Access Tech Live will return in less than 2 minutes. Access Tech Live is in a commercial break. The show will return in less than a minute. Access Tech Live will be back in 30 seconds. Now, back to Access Tech Live, a CES special, the latest in tech and accessibility with Stephen Scott and Marc Aflalo.
And we're back on this special edition of Access Tech Live, our part 2 this week of our Access Tech Live episodes, coming to you from CES in Las Vegas. Well, our team on the ground are at CES in Las Vegas. Mark and I didn't get the invite this year. What's that all about, Mark?
We got the invite. We just decided that it was sometimes a bit easier to cover so many big announcements and companies from the comfort of our little studios and send good old Tim and David over there to the Las Vegas show floor to take care of all the technical for. Stephen, can I take a moment to pay attention to some other tech announcements that we're not going to feature on the show?
Oh, please do. And I want you to pick up, if you can, on one particular announcement about a keyboard that I am very excited about.
Yeah, the keyboard I think everybody's excited about. We'll get to that in a second. But everybody's talking about and have been talking about transparent televisions. Yeah, that's something that we're seeing across the show floor, whether it be from LG, Samsung. This incredible OLED display basically appears as a pane of glass. And with a flick of a switch, it comes to life with an actual beautiful 4K image on it. I can just imagine the uses in like the advertising space. And of course, the keyboard that you wanted me to mention is Clicks. It's a case for the iPhone that brings back that physical tactile keyboard, but lets you put it on an iPhone case, which is pretty cool. How many years have been wanting a solution like that? Kind of BlackBerry-like, right?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
then there's a Glaster, which is an AI software aiding dyslexic children by adapting text from photos using color coding and gamifying it all to make it easier for kids. So many cool announcements coming from CES this year, Stephen.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, look, let's move on because we do have many guests to talk to here on our special today. Look, getting people in and out of cars, loading and unloading mobility devices, wheelchair lifts, ramps, tie-downs, seatbelts, new ways to drive, all of these are challenges that Braun Ability takes on to make driving and riding in a vehicle easier for those with disabilities. Kevin Frayne is a Senior Director at Braun Ability and joins us now from the CES show floor. Kevin, thank you for being with us today.
Hey, thanks a lot. Thanks for having me.
So what brings you to CES and what are you showing this year?
Well, Brown and Billy, we're actually not showing anything on the show floor per se. My job is to prepare the company for the advancements in mobility, specifically around the CASE megatrend, so connected, autonomous, shared, electric. We know that things are changing, more drastic than they ever have before. It's just a matter of how fast, how far. And I came to the company 5 years ago to kind of lead the efforts to make sure we are developing the right skills and finding the right high-tech partners to be ready to continue offering accessible transportation.
Now, Kevin, you talk about preparing for the future, and it used to be the automotive world was a pretty slow ramp, no pun intended, where you'd see something now and they'd talk about it, and it would be 6 or 7 years before you saw it actually make it to a car. You guys are in the business of adapting vehicles and making solutions so that people with disabilities can not only use their cars but can get into their cars safely and travel in them. How do those advancements in things like electrification and autonomous driving? How do you guys see your place in that role?
Well, Brown and Billy's been around for 50 years. I don't know if you guys are totally familiar with our history. Founded by Ralph Braun in a little town in Indiana. He, was a great inventor of coming up with ways to enable his transportation, and just from other people reading about it, I think Popular Mechanics was one of the places that he was featured, and all of a sudden he was contacted and said, "Hey, can you do this for me?" And that kind of steamrolled, and eventually he founded the company 51 years ago. I guess relative to how do we prepare for the future, I came from General Motors, 33 years in product development. I've been an engineer in the past. I've been a strategy development person. I've been a market researcher. So I came over, Braun, like I said, specifically to lead the advanced mobility efforts that we have put in place here the last 5 years. We have built up a little R&D team and built a beautiful, large R&D center at our new headquarters in Carmel, Indiana. And it's myself working along with our senior director of R&D, building our internal skills, right? So we're reaching out and working with high-tech partners. If you look at our past efforts, things I can talk about, when I first came here, we were working with the French company Navia. They were a autonomous vehicle shuttle developer, a low-speed vehicle. So we work with them to modify one of our existing Rams that we could integrate into their vehicle around all the battery and components there. At the same time, we've done other things too. One of the big things over the last few years, the DOT has sponsored many events to get the awareness around accessibility and autonomous and electric future. They had a inclusive design challenge that started probably 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago. We were part of a team along with Purdue University, and using at that time the local motor shuttle. That's another autonomous vehicle shuttle manufacturer who's no longer in existence. I think it's just tech these days can move quickly. But we use that as a test bed to showcase different developments that could help enable the accessible autonomous future. And I have to give kudos to the team working on it, because we actually took first place in that, won the $1 million prize, and Purdue is now using that to set up a research center specifically around accessible technology. But it gave us the opportunity to work with these leading edge high-tech companies, develop solutions so we have them ready in our arsenal for whatever electric or autonomous is going to throw our way. Things like extra thin cassette ramps that can package within a 50 millimeter package height, which is important, right? When you start putting big thick batteries in the floor, and now you're at a premium for space. I could go on and on with other things we've done since then. One of the big ones that has been revealed here probably 4 or 5 months ago, we've been working with GM's Cruise for, probably 3 years now, in making the Cruise Origin accessible. That's a project that is still in process here, and so when they do launch that vehicle, I give them kudos for working with us, and they're going to have accessible options in their fleet. So those are the kind of things, finding high-tech partners, working on our little R&D team and getting ready for whatever's going to come at us, making sure we have the right things in our toolbox to enable with both partners and as well as the vehicles that we modify ourselves.
Well, that's what's cool about CES, is that it's not necessarily about showcasing your own stuff. It's about making those partnerships and seeing what other people are doing to make sure that you're up for the challenge. And you guys have definitely been up for the challenge with that experience. It's been, the the ease of which you're, providing people with disabilities to just travel like everybody else in a vehicle and make sure they're safe is incredibly empowering to a lot of people. I'm curious, in a situation like Cruise, for example, or other partners, is that something you guys seek out, or are you sought after when it comes to making vehicles more accessible in certain cases?
I'd say it's a little of both. Historically, what we've done is develop our own products and spread them across many different applications. So we can do, lots of low volumes to make the business case to bring accessibility to many different avenues. Cruise, was kind of looking at what we had in our arsenal to move fast that we could, so we did a little bit of invention, we did a little bit of off the shelf, we did a little bit of modifications to come up with solutions for them. But yeah, I mean, projects like that, I got to tell you, they do a lot to get word of mouth rolling, and then we do get reach outs from other companies. We're saying, hey, we saw what you did, and we're interested in talking some more. And again, it's all great.
It's interesting
Yep.
because, you, as Mark said, you're empowering people with disabilities to drive, which is great. I mean, you're doing more than just making it easy to get in and out of a vehicle. It's much more than that. But what I do wonder is how you work that into vehicles, considering that every case, every disabled person is different.
I'm sorry, I rephrase that. I didn't quite catch that.
So I'm just asking you there about each individual case that you're putting into the technology into the car. How do you make sure that that is available to as many people as possible? Because everyone's different, right?
Well, everybody is different. I mean, you're setting me up for a thing I tell folks who are not familiar with the industry, right? I mean, every person with a disability has different needs, different capabilities, and needs a slightly different solution. We do a lot of educating in the partners we're working with who are new to this area, because it's not like it's one solution that they can go and come up with and they know it's going to satisfy everybody. So there definitely is an education with them to understand what kind of solutions are out there. Wheelchair securement's a big one, right? If you're not familiar with that there are no standards and there's an infinite number of wheelchairs ranging from 400-pound power chairs today to ones that are 40 years old and still in operation and still in good use. That's a challenge right there, to make sure that you understand what you're going to see, especially in a ride share or a public-private transit situation, right, where it's not just a one-to-one, one user to one wave solution.
Kevin, hopefully we're doing our part to help educate people as well and bring attention to what you guys are doing. I see the Brawnability logo on so many vehicles around these days. So for me, it was a familiar ask to have you come on and talk about all the things that you guys do. Congratulations on all your success, and thank you for joining us this week.
Thank you.
Coming up, we speak to a company that takes ordinary things in life in your home and makes them smarter. Leafy Home is coming up next here on our Access Tech Live CES special.
This is Access Tech Live CES special. Follow us on social media at Access Tech Live. We'll be right back. Access Tech Live will return in less than 2 minutes. Access Tech Live is in a commercial break. Access Tech Live will return in less than 2 minutes. Access Tech Live is in a commercial break. The show will return in less than a minute. Access Tech Live will be back in 30 seconds. To Access Tech Live, a CES special, the latest in tech and accessibility with Stephen Scott and Marc Aflalo.
And we're back on our CES special. Marc, so many great guests coming by, but honestly, we're just scraping the surface here. We could do this all week and into next week, and we'd still never cover everything at CES, right?
And don't give anybody any ideas, okay? This is hard work. Yeah, but you know what? Yeah, with scraping the surface is probably just a rough estimate. I mean, with 4,500 plus exhibitors, I mean, in 2 days, you literally just are scraping the surface. And for those watching at home, we're also doing some recording stuff after the show's done, the live show's done. So we're going to be bringing you some really fun stuff over the coming weeks as well, Stephen. But let's take a second here to take a look at some other cool tech that was announced at this week's show.
Abbott, and I'm showing the Lingo today. Lingo is a continuous glucose monitor. We leverage some of the technology that we got from the Freestyle Libre, which is for diabetes, but the big difference is instead of having a prescription because you're diabetic, any person can learn more insights about their glucose.
Our company's name is Time Kettle, and this year we bring our newest product, the X1 Interpreter Hub, AI technology-based hardware that can communicate with the other one using different languages.
So here at APER, it's one of our solutions to the smart yard category, if you think about it. So that our philosophy is that we want people to have more time with their families and go ahead and have a robot show this and be able to cut the grass for you.
We're Honda, and here at CES 2024, we're showing the new Honda Zero EV series. It has a low stance, it has a spacious interior, and we believe this will be able to connect the driver and the vehicle in a powerful way that will create a new future for mobility.
Just a small sample of the many exhibits at CES this year. Now, at its heart, Leafy Home has designed a product that turns ordinary blinds into smart blinds. But it's the mission and values of the company that really set it apart. Now, Will Wang is the co-founder of Vancouver-based Leafy Home and joins us now from the CES show floor. Will, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
So tell us about this path you're on with Nova, which is the world's simplest smart blinds. I like the sound of this.
Thank you. Yeah, so we're here at CES to launch this innovative product to the world. And so we're really trying to solve the problem about sunlight and privacy control in homes and buildings. And this solution can transform any ordinary window blinds into smart blinds within less than a minute and without any tools. So yesterday and the day before on the show floor, a lot of people came by and then we showed them, a lot of people knows about smart window blinds, but when we showed them the installation, everybody was like, what? Is that done? So yeah, it's pretty exciting to get to show the world after years of hard work.
Leafy's partnered with Technology for Living, which is an organization whose mission is to work with people who have severe physical disabilities, Will, and make them live well and independently as possible. How closely aligned are what you're doing with that mission?
Oh, very close. Good question. So maybe a little bit story. So when I first started this, I was trying to solve my own little problem. My son was born, my wife was holding the newborn baby, walking around the townhouse, open and close all the window blinds one by one every day. And we have like smart this, smart that at home. So I was like, oh, this could be better. And then as an engineer, I started to build my first prototype because all the existing smart window blinds are expensive, they're hard to install. And so, yeah, I wanted to retrofit. And then after I had the prototype, I started showing to my friends. And it happened, one of my friends is on a wheelchair, and he's part of the Technology for Living. So that's how I realized for somebody who couldn't get up and reach the window blinds, this is a day and night difference for them. And I got even more passionate because this innovation could help a lot more people make a very positive impact in their day-to-day life. So they're more independent and happier.
Yeah, it's interesting how so many products like this kind of fall into the category of almost accidental accessibility, right? So a product
Yeah,
idea comes
yeah.
along, and then suddenly you realize, well, this can really impact on the lives of disabled people as well. I think that's absolutely fantastic. Tell me about the installation process. Is it simple? Because I am hopeless with anything DIY. I mean, I take a screw and a hammer, and then I just get started by bang, 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 and hope for the best. And I'm also blind, so you know, it just creates an interesting experience. How easy are these two? Should I try doing this myself, or should I get someone else in?
I would love to give you a unit to try, to be honest, because my 5-year-old son can do it even without looking at any user manuals or videos. Because like the design, we worked with a very well-known product development firm in the Bay Area in terms of the mechanical. So we ensure the installation process is as simple as long as you remove the stick from your original window blinds, and then our bracket is just like a zip tie. You can fill it where your window blinds is and then put it on. So the whole process, you don't have to remove your original window blinds off from the window. And then it's almost as simple as you're putting your phone on a selfie stick. And then so within 30 seconds, that can be done.
That's so cool.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, that's pretty insane. I love the description of your 5-year-old doing it.
No, literally, he could do it. And then, so here I actually have one in my pocket. This is how big the device is. And then once you have the bracket on there, and this just slides on. And then you can charge it with USB-C, and the battery lasts for 1 year under typical use case.
So it looks like basically it's about half the size of a smartphone, and you've got obviously the battery compartment, and it's about as thick, probably about as thick as like a computer mouse almost, right?
Yes, that's about right, yeah.
So I got a question for you. You know, you obviously you talked about, you know, the blinds. There's a whole element of energy efficiency as well, and being able to use real-time weather to determine when the sun is coming into a certain room. And so we're solving the issue not only of sun control and light control, but you can actually add efficiency. And maybe can you tie this into your thermostat, for example?
Oh yes, we already have prototypes of this working with Ecobee. So from that, we know your thermostat is, your AC is on. So what we can do is we know the sun is at this side of your house and this is the window, then we can block the solar heat at the right moment. And when the sun is out of the way, then we open up the window for more natural lighting, because everybody prefers more natural lighting at home.
Right. This is perfect for my house, especially because my front of my house, where my kids' room is, gets so hot in the summer, and even in the winter, honestly, it gets really hot. To be able to control this and not have to spend $2,000 on a pair of smart blinds, this is, you know, an incredible solution for that as well.
But it's something else as well, though, Will, and I think there's something else in this. Again, it's that accidental accessibility side of it. You know, I think about myself, you know, I'm blind, and I've got friends of mine as well who are blind who don't even know if it's dark outside or not, right? So, you know, they maybe have their home blinds open and they want to have them closed, but they don't know the right time to do it. Maybe they're nervous about leaving their blinds open. We were talking earlier about this. You know, some people don't, they physically can't open their blinds. So this can make a difference there as well. There's so much that can benefit the disability community here.
For sure. And then when I did the user interviews, one of them, she was blind. But she constantly have guests visiting her. So when the guests came over, they opened the blinds. But guess what? Sometimes they forgot to close it when they leave.
Yes.
And then that's a big privacy concern, right?
Yeah.
So, and I think that's a very good use case of this as well. And to be honest, I quit my job to do this full time. And this is one of the strongest reasons I feel very, very passionate about building this, because it's for all these very good use cases and help people in their day-to-day lives, especially people who has making an impact in their day-to-day life like this.
So, Will, what happens when you leave CES and you've met all these people, you've introduced your product to the world, consumers are giving you feedback? What's next for Leafy Home?
Yeah, so this year is about like scale up. We already have the product is already in production, and then we're shipping that in spring this year. And then we want to connect with all the channel partners. We already had quite a few good conversations yesterday. And then also a couple of investors were very interested in what we're doing. So that's all a very good beginning to kick off this year. And then longer term wise, I think my vision is I want to automate sunlight to make the world a more efficient place.
Wow. You know, you've literally poured everything into this. And I wish you all the best with it. Will, it sounds incredible. It's a great product by the sounds of it. We'd love to try it here at Access Tech Live for sure. Will Wang, thank you so much for coming on from Leafy Home.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Coming up on our CES special, the CTA Foundation holds its annual pitch competition where products and services go head-to-head to try to help people around the world. And this year's winner has an amazing product and a story to tell. So when we come back after a quick break here on Access Tech Live, Courtney Singer, the co-founder of Augmental, is with us. Stand by.
This is Access Tech Live CES Special. Follow us on social media at Access Tech Live. We'll be right back. Access Tech Live will return in less than 2 minutes. Access Tech Live is in a commercial break. Access Tech Live will return in less than 2 minutes. Access Tech Live is in a commercial break. The show will return in less than a minute. Access Tech Live will be back in 30 seconds. Now, back to Access Tech Live, a CES special. The latest in tech and accessibility with Stephen Scott and Marc Aflalo.
And we're back on our CES special to wrap things up. Stephen Scott and Marc Aflalo with you, of course. Now, Marc, there are so many companies that we'll never even get to on this special.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the fun of it, right? We have content for the rest of the year. This is what we need. We just, we work 1 week and we just create shows for the rest of the year. No, but all joking aside, Stephen, CES spans, the convention center is the North Hall, South Hall, West Hall. So that's 3. It bleeds into almost every single hotel and casino in Las Vegas. It really does take over the Las Vegas Strip. If you've ever been to a convention there, then you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, it is very, very overwhelming as a first-time person that goes there, which is why covering it like this with a small team on the ground there, having people come to us, is the organized, logical way to do it this year, Stephen. I think if we were there, we'd be so overwhelmed with what's going on around us that you almost can't do what you want to do at the end of the day. But it's such a cool event. It's a must attend once in your lifetime, at least, if not several times. So I'm so glad that we're able to bring this to our audience and especially focus on all the accessibility and disability focused stuff, because not a lot of people shine the spotlight on these things.
No, and I think that's the key point about all of this. And we talk about the number of exhibitors who turn up every year to this event and how that's growing and growing. But, the number of companies that are actually getting access to other companies that are creating accessible products and being able to ask those questions, those relaxed questions about how it all works, is just brilliant. And that alone, if that was all the CES event was, that would be enough. But of course, it's so much more than that. And it does drive the conversation for us here on the show. And it allows us to actually plan out and think about the kind of technology and categories of technology that are going to be coming out and how they will be made accessible to us. So it starts the conversation. That's what CES is often all about.
And I've got a little montage here of a couple other companies that we don't have the opportunity to speak to necessarily in person, but can introduce themselves for you right here.
The name of the company is Icebach Sound Solutions, and our main product right now that we're kind of showing is the Nova H1, which I'm already wearing. It's basically an earring. Use them as headphones. You can make calls, you can listen to music, you can do whatever you would do with regular headphones as well.
We are Ampere, and we make fun, functional tech. We're showcasing Dusk, the world's first and only pair of app-enabled, electrochromic, tint-changing smart glasses.
So our company is Gonggong, and our product is the Swasher. This is the air purifier machine using water instead of the filter.
We are Niosem, we are from Germany, and we have developed the world's first device to reverse hair loss in 6 months. We are using bioelectrical stimulation in order to reactivate stem cells, and this triggers hair regrowth.
Our company name is Glückskin. We are showing off the Glückskin Rosa smart AI-powered baby stroller system. It's there to give parents an extra set of hands and eyes while they're out and about with their little ones. It does that by giving them power assistance when going uphill, and so that even grandma can take a 50-pound child loaded with groceries up the steepest San Francisco hills effortlessly with just finger strength.
I love that finger strength when grandma can help the stroller go up the hill, which is pretty cool. We're just waiting for Courtney Singer, who's the co-founder of Augmental, which is a company that won the CTA Foundation's pitch competition just yesterday, Stephen. He's running a bit late, so he will be on. Hopefully, he'll get here in time before we wrap up the show. But yeah, so many cool things there. You like the smart glasses, you know, the ones that tint themselves?
Yeah, I like that, but I love the fact that there's so much talk about smart glasses. And, you know, this is kind of an interesting thing for me. I'm wearing right now, and I always wear every week on this program, it's become a bit of a trademark for me to wear these sunglasses for a couple of different reasons. I'm very light sensitive, so I do need to wear sunglasses quite a lot of the time. And on top of that, I love wearing latest tech. And these have tech in them. So these are very simple, very cheap, I will add, audio sunglasses with Bluetooth in them. So they connect to my iPhone and I can listen to audio from my smartphone coming into these glasses, and I can hear them without having anything obstructing my ears, which is fantastic for me. But, you know, what I'm seeing is a huge move towards more and more of this kind of technology where, you know, we're adding cameras in there, adding new ways, AR, new ways to navigate through even GPS in some occasions. So this is a really exciting area, and it's great to see that showcased because, you know, it has to be fashionable for it to be wanted by more people. That's the key. So it's great to see, for example, this year last year, I should say, from Meta, Ray-Ban, of course, coming out with the Ray-Ban glasses. They were very interesting. So I love those. This is just something we want to see. Yeah, this is something we want to see develop further.
The Meta frames are really cool, and there's even an update that's coming really soon where it's going to be able to recognize what's in front of it, and that people are testing it right now. I've been trying to get my hands on it, but no luck during the holidays, which is pretty unfortunate. But yeah, so much cool tech, and also the smart glasses are getting thinner, getting smaller, getting lighter, so it's a lot easier for people to actually use them and more affordable and accessible, Stephen. That's the key there. It can't be $3,500. No pun intended there.
Exactly.
It's got to be. It's got to be affordable. Stephen, guess who's standing by with us at the Las Vegas show floor to wrap up our CES coverage? You know, they won the CTA Foundation's pitch competition. Augmental. Courtney Singer, the co-founder, is with us. Courtney, thank you so much for taking the time to join us this week.
Yeah, thank you. It's my pleasure. It's a dream of ours to be here to just spread the word of what we're doing, and yeah, just really grateful to be able to talk to you guys.
You got to tell us about your product, because I've done the research. I'm blown away with what you guys are doing. Describe what you guys have come to the table with this year.
Yeah, I actually have it here with me. Essentially, we're making an intraoral assistive interface. It's like a Bluetooth trackpad that goes inside the mouth. So it essentially enables access to your smartphone, computer, your tablet, anything with a Bluetooth chip in it. And it enables your tongue and mouth to essentially drive your cursor, enable click functionality, basically digital screen navigation if the use of your hands is not available.
You know, it's been really interesting reading some of the social media reaction to this product. I saw someone saying, you know, how does this work in terms of health, in terms of cleanliness, hygiene? You know, how do you deal with that? Because I'm guessing this is not something you share around.
Yeah, you know, this is a custom device. I don't know if you can see the details so much here. This is my custom dental model that this is built upon. So they are not meant to be shared across individuals. This is
based for basically your own custom dentition. It's using all biocompatible dental resins. So as far as hygiene is concerned, we haven't had any issues there. And basically to keep it clean, we just encourage our users to lightly soap and water it. Basically at the same time you'd be brushing your teeth. And then, yeah, as far as general, I think, health applications as well, when it comes down to it, this is really great for just enabling more equitable access to the digital world, helps reduce isolation for those living with disability, and, you know, increases mental health for just being able to, I don't know, enjoy the digital world like everyone should.
It looks just like my daughter's mouth guard or my wife's mouth guard that they wear at night. You know, it just pops into the top of their palate, and it gives them that, I guess, tactile control with their tongue that is so cool. Stephen?
Yeah, I've got to ask you though, where did the idea come from for this?
Yeah, thank you. You know, my co-founder and I have been working in the space of alternative input interaction for about a decade each. We've got degrees in computer science and cognitive science, so how computers work and human systems work. So over the past years, we've really explored all the alternative inputs out there beyond hand-based input paradigms, you know, eye tracking, EEG, EMG, muscle tracking, speech interfaces, even brain implants with our expertise. So we've kind of led to this sort of culmination of efforts that looks at the tongue as really the 11th finger, you know, a very capable and dexterous part of us that's really been untapped as far as computer interaction is concerned. And we wanted to make a general solution for folks living with quadriplegia or spinal cord injury so that they would just have, you know, above neck access to their personal devices.
What a great invention. What a great idea. We only got about a minute left here, so I got to ask you quickly, when are we going to see this, no pun intended, get into the mouths of people if it's not already?
Yeah, so we are on the market officially. We started in last October making our first sales directly to customers as well as the VA, but we are releasing devices through an early access limited program. Public release will be sometime later this year in 2024.
And the website where people can find out more information and try to get early access if they need it?
That's right. You can come to our website at www.augmental.tech, and you can sign up for our waitlist if you would like to reserve your mouthpad. And yeah, we'd love to hear from anyone who's interested.
And Gordon, we'd love to hear from you and from users down the road. Thank you so much for helping us wrap up this incredible couple days we've had at CES. We hope you join us again. Stephen, what a couple days. You know, as I said to the audience before, we've got some interviews that we're recording after this and after we did yesterday.
Sweet.
So we're going to be bringing that to you guys over the coming weeks. And special thanks to Tim and David over at CES in Las Vegas for being there and assisting everything that we're doing here. On behalf of all of us at Access Tech Live, thank you for being with us on this CES special Las Vegas.
Thanks for tuning in to Access Tech Live. Follow us online on all social media at Access Tech Live. Email us feedback@accesstechlive.com. Hosted by Stephen Scott in Glasgow and Marc Aflalo in Montreal. Written by Stephen Scott and Marc Aflalo. Producer, Marc Aflalo. Live show director, Anastasia Spalding-Stenhouse. Technical director, Caitlin Robinson. Audio, Jordan Mulgrave. Live graphics and playback, Kingsley Juco. Graphics coordinator, Eliza Rocco. Integrated described video specialist, M. Williams. Supervising producer, Michelle Dudas. Produced in collaboration with Aflalo Communications Inc. and Double Tap Productions. Copyright 2024, Accessible Media Inc. Access Tech Live will return in less than 2 minutes. Access Tech Live is in a commercial break. Access Tech Live will return in less than 2 minutes.